Just backstage here, fit farting around. Everyone else is like, is there a live show today? Because I thought there was gonna be. Kerry, shake or gum. We're doing the backpack show again. What happened?
We decided it was a lot of fun and we wanted to do it again. The short answer. So we were having fun with Play for Time, but it was like not I was having a lot of fun and fun experiences. I wasn't learning as much as we learned when we did the backpack show, and I'm a sucker for learning. So that was one of the things that brought me back to it. What about you?
Hi everyone, Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gargone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack show.
You're really not going to tell us?
No, I was just champing at the bit to get pushing on those buttons. Though, look, we have all kinds of people. My dad's here. There's Chloe. This is great. So we have a lot of fun stuff to cover. And no, the reason I'm happy to go back to the backpack show is because the creating and editing of actual pieces was a little bit of work. And to do it for this, plus my YouTube channel, plus other things I was working on, it just wasn't quite cutting it. So I'm excited. I'm so thrilled to see Joanne here again. It's great to pick up the format of the old show. We started this show at the beginning of the pandemic. I went through a couple of iterations and then pulled you in and said, hey, come be a co-host. I love how you portray the story of what you thought I was asking you versus what we did.
It's not a story. It's what happened. So you'd been doing this show called Catch Up, and I was like showing up because, it was the pandemic. Like you said, no one's doing anything. So before I'd clock in, like at my regular job, I'd do that. And everybody you had on were people that I've interviewed too, and that I've known for years, like we all have sort of. So that was the fun of it. I'd be like, oh, hey, that guy collects bottle caps, or that guy went to clown college or whatever. And I would put stuff in the comments. So I became Kerry in the comments. And then he said, oh, maybe you should come and like produce the show with me. I was like, okay, cool. So I was thinking I'll be doing the same thing, but like doing it backstage and pushing banners instead of just having comments. No. So I'm sitting there in my comfies, my little jammies, and you pulled me up front the first day. And I thought, well, crap, I guess I'm going to have to like put on some makeup every day at this time and be ready.
And so it began. And then we learned really fast that you were super good at putting together show and finding great guests. I love that to this day, we still have the same model for guest finding, which is I will randomly go, oh, that person seems interesting, and try to track them down. And you're like, I wonder if I could find someone who tunes helicopter blades or something. You've already got some guests lined up. We've also lined up some sponsors. You know what I didn't do though? I didn't put any graphics up for those sponsors. I think you provided them and I still didn't even do it. But let me say that we have two different sponsors. One that we have is Chloë Forbes-Kindlen, who's already in our comments and chit-chatting. And I've got a graphic for her that I didn't put up. But, she's got a new business, or it's been going for a little while, called BusinessOPS. So from fiction to flow, BusinessOPS helps turn your scattered workflows and tools into one custom Notion workspace built for how your team actually operates. Head to business.
She's our sponsor for Person of the Day, which comes at the end of the show.
Oh, we changed that because we said she would likely be the most common person of the day because Fauzia would probably never show up to watch the show. Look, I'm just telling you what the thing is. I'm reading it. I'm going to finish reading it unless you have other protests. Head to businessops.co/backpack, and you're going to get a free Notion for Business starter kit, which is pretty cool. So business process designer, Notion certified consulting partner, ChloeForbesK.com, which I will also have links for next time. And I'll show you all her other. There you go. There's a sponsor read. We did one.
Listen, so first of all, in case you don't remember, the Backpack Show is all about finding success insights from unusual places. And that looked a lot of different ways. So we ended up talking to like an Irish sheep farmer, and we talked to dominatrixes because there's different types. And I didn't know that before doing the Backpack Show, but there's like the slap and tickle type, and there's the financial type that just says you're a bad person. You should give me all your money because you don't deserve it. And people do it. Different types. Authors, founders, And when I started looking for this next round, I looked specifically to start us off with people who've had really unusual career journeys. So not even just like one reinvention, possibly several, or a very unexpected kind of turn. So what we're looking for are things we can distill down into lessons, simple things that you could yourself apply to find success. It's just that the stories of the people that we get these lessons from aren't what you would expect. It's kind of interesting. It's different than buying a book off the shelf that's like how to succeed in business, because it's like on the ground. You get the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's always a lot of fun. So that's what the Backpack Show means to me and how we envisioned it in the beginning. And we're going to keep doing that going forward. We're going to feature one guest per episode because there were definitely times we had more to cover with one guest and we'd end up bringing them back because we're like, oh, we have to switch to a second guest. So one guest per show. What else?
Well, we also get all of our old Tim Kitzrow clips back.
And this question comes from inside the big yard at Folsom County Prison.
I mean, I don't think that's exactly a feature, but I get to push all these buttons, so I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, look at you, fancy banner maker. Yeah, it's what you said. We're going to do success and insights from unusual places. We're going to go a little more in depth this time around because we're going to do one guest per episode instead of two. We were always kind of mushing one of the guests. And you never knew. Like it could be that the guest that we thought was going to be the top guest was not the one, and we'd always find that different. So for today's episode, we do not have a guest, I found out. And we are instead going to talk a little bit about the My 3 Words process because we just went through the turn of a year. The calendar year is flipped over. It is now 2026, although I've seen very many people having their graphics say 2024 into 2025. I don't know what that's about, bless their hearts. But here we go. And I think that we're going to talk about how the My 3 Words process went. The whole concept of this is that you pick 3 meaningful words, not any filler words, no thes, no a or whatever. And you use those words to be guideposts for the year ahead. If you go to chrisbrogan.com, there is a post up for My 3 Words for 2026. You can even find it on this YouTube channel somewhere I think I put it up for 2024 or something like that, that it just explains the process. So if you want to work through the process every year, right at the very end of the year, right before New Year's, we do a live webinar where people come. Chloe participated. My dad was there. A whole bunch of people came, and there were all kinds of words shared. And I thought we could go through what our 3 words are. And I thought maybe we should start with some of your 3 words. And we even made nifty bifty graphics for it. So do you want to do like one at a time, go back and forth one each, or do you want to do all 3 of yours?
I think we should go back and forth, first of all. But second of all, the reason that I thought we'd cover My 3 Words is because we did it last year, and we do it every year on the Backpack Show. So this is, in fact, the 20th anniversary of your My 3 Words tradition. And it has just gotten so wildly away from what it started as, which was just you on your little blog talking about what you're going to do for the year. Now people that I've never heard of, I don't know if you've ever talked to them before, will mention you and share the 3 words that they're going to use as their kind of guideposts for decisions. That's what I like about My 3 Words versus resolutions or other things. They help you in more contexts than you can anticipate at the beginning of the year. So it's a little bit like, like the US Constitution is supposed to be able to move and apply to different modern scenarios. It's not just supposed to be of the time. Like My 3 Words are supposed to be relevant to what you're trying to accomplish this year or what you want your year to be like, but also it's flexible in the sense that when you're faced with a new decision, some new opportunity or new project or new idea that you had no idea was going to come your way in January, you can still use these 3 words to decide whether or not it's for you. Do I have that about right?
You did it. And maybe what we should do is go through our 3 words for 2025 and give an assessment of them. So for instance, my 3 words for 2025, the first word was gambit, which is a chess playing term that basically is a move that you can make that there's some inherent risk in, and yet you can make that move and you might possibly pay off. And I absolutely used that word in 2025. I had one of the biggest gambits of my whole career in 2025, which was to help transition out my founder. And I had this sort of premise that, if he goes, I have to go. And I had this premise that, maybe I'll stick around a little while longer, maybe I won't. And the answer was I won't. So I played the gambit and I did not win in that case. But because I had that as one of my 3 words, it was part of the plan. Like, I understood it. The plan was I should leave, but what if? And the what if is the gambit part. And that's how that went down. The other word was at home, and it was cheesy because I used the at symbol to kind of make it one word. But the concept was, there's that meme that's like, Mom, let's get Burger King. And she's like, we have Burger King at home. And the Burger King at home is like a crappy hamburger on like regular white bread, and like the goo is going through it and all that. Meaning it's, you have something at home. It might not be as great, but you have something at home. I thought that would be a great way to remind myself to not buy all kinds of things, and to keep my spending down, and to also accept that I probably, even inside my human person, I have capabilities already. Maybe I already have stuff at home. That worked really well. The third one was event, which was treat every interaction with people as an event. Like, realize that every time you're connecting and getting with other people, it's going to be an event. And my goal was to celebrate people a lot more, etc. So that's how my 3 words went. I think they went well, even though that wasn't like my best year. How did your 3 words go for 2025?
2025. Oh boy. So it has been a year, had been a year. Now it's 2026. Lots of changes. And they were oddly prescient. Like, I picked these 3 words thinking it's going to be an interesting and challenging year. I had no idea how true that was. So at the beginning of the year, I chose anchor, by which I mean hold to what matters the most and stay focused on that. And to me at the time, it was like my kids, their needs, my family, and my own, like my spiritual and creative kind of well-being, internal and health and stuff like that. So anchor, and make every decision based on, not an anchor like that weighs you down, but an anchor that centers you and keeps you focused. And then tack, which means sometimes when you want a thing, you can't just go right at the thing. Sometimes you have to take a tack and go, not directly at it, but a little this way, a little that way, back and forth until eventually you get to it for reasons, many reasons. Who knows what they are? Maybe it's not socially or professionally acceptable to run at the thing. Maybe you have some things you need to do first, or some allies you need to make, whatever it is. You keep your eye on that prize and you get to it, whatever way you need to get to it. So tack. And then wayfinder, which means there's no map for this stuff. There's no trail marker going to tell you which way to go. You're going to have to feel your way through and come out the other side of this wilderness based on your intuition and the knowledge and skills that you have to help you feel out the right way. So wayfinder. And all three, I should say, all 3 of those ended up being really helpful. I would call them a success in the year. The year was the year, but the words were a success, I think.
Love it. That sounds really great. So now we can just pivot right into our 2026 version of my 3 words. And we got some nice cheesy graphics made up from our robot friends. I think I used Gemini for mine, Nano Banana. So my first word out of my 3 is package. And in this case, what that is helping me understand is the notion of, I guess I could do that, is the notion of packaging my choices, my efforts, packaging the things I do in such a way that it's very clear and obvious that they relate to a product line of sorts, let's say. Because one of the things that I did in my year-end review is realize that really kind of scattered. 2025, I was kind of all over the map, and it just wasn't clear what it was I was selling and what it meant. So package is one of my words for 2026. Kerry, what do you have for your first word?
Hold on. So we've got a conversation happening in the comments. Chloe's asking, how did your tarot process go? Do you feel in tune with your picks? And we got the tarot reading and yeah, for Joanne, the tarot reading and the things and how they applied. That's cool. Anyway, in case you're just joining us for the first time on the Backpack Show, when we have done the Backpack Show in the past, the conversations happening during the live show are rich and interesting and sometimes don't involve us at all. So this is like one example of that. And people are saying, hey, like Papa Brogan saying, "Hey, Chloë Forbes-Kindlen." So anywho, there's that. One of my favorite things about the Backpack Show is the interaction you get during the live show, especially when we have a guest, because there's a lot of conversations that are fun and unexpected. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now for 2026, my 3 words are a little bit different. I had some genealogical research done and got to learn a lot about my ancestors, and almost all of whom come from Ireland on every side. So it was interesting. And I thought, based on what my mom had said, she was basically like, we're all peasants. Not really. We were merchants, business owners, entrepreneurs, kind of labor organizers. And I was really proud of that. I was like, everybody that in my family that came before me did work to make their place in the world, but they created something of their own. I thought that was really interesting. So one of my 3 words is ignite. Sorry, I covered the comment. Ignite, which means the energy that comes from starting a thing, kind of. So I chose ignite because I have a tendency to wait until conditions are perfect before beginning. I'm a perfectionist, and ignite reminds me that momentum starts from starting. You get progress and momentum and energy from starting, not from researching and prepping. So if there's energy and there's curiosity for a thing, I will start and I'll let everything else kind of catch up later. So that's what that one means for me. What's your second word?
Well, maybe I should flush these comments through first. Jackie says, nah, nothing like Brett eating ever happens in comments, lol, or typos. I knew I should wait to talk until after coffee. And Joanne says, thanks, Chloe. I hadn't seen that connection. Perfect. What are your words? Are you still working on them? There you go. So my second of 3 words for 2026, first was package. Second is depth, which you can actually read on the side of the sub, even though it looks really weird. Depth in that, again, in my year-end review, I ran my year-end review through GPT and said, look, be a tough love coach to me. Like, tell me what I got to do here. And it was like, dude, you are all over the map. You're doing so much. Judging by all the different things you're researching with me, you are crazy. And you've got to like slow down and go deep on some stuff. Oh, but pardon me, I'm going to do setup. So do depth, basically, is one of my words for 2026.
So I think I always sort of piggyback off your experience with past words as well. And that helps me in the choice of new ones for me. Like I have learned for me that verbs work better than nouns, which, it's not like a hard and fast rule, but my personal experience has been that. I'm about to put another word up, by the way. That's the reason I had it down, but that's cool. My second word is steward, my second word for 2026. And that could be a noun, but in this case, it's a verb. So this is about responsibility without over control. So I have a tendency to take on things that aren't even mine, like to own. So if there's a problem that needs fixing, I will fix it. Or a project that needs leadership, I will take it and I will lead it. And that can be okay, except that it can also burn you out if you're not a little more discerning kind of about what you need to own versus what you can contribute to and help with. So this word helps me decide what's truly mine to guide and what I can support by helping others, like mentoring others or contributing without carrying the whole thing myself, if that makes sense. What do you think, Mr. My 3 words?
I think steward's a great choice. I think it is a powerful one for people who do tend to kind of color past their lines a little bit. And certainly people who are high achievers tend to see the diminished side of some other people's participation and tend to react to that and say, I think I will dive in and help out a little extra. And so this kind of, sets some boundaries possibly, and also some reminders of where you should be putting your energy and your time. I actually like I know we just kind of made the graphics just for something to have for the show. I really like the graphic because it really kind of points out, I can only light flame. A lot of fire and blazing though. So we've got ignite and steward. This is sounds like a project I know someone was working on.
Unrelated. Ignite's about energy. And for me, the spark that starts me down a path. So that's where it came from. I think I think this was also Nano Banana or whatever. I think it took the Ignite and like pushed it through the word design for all these. So again, since it was only for this, I didn't worry about it. Other things. Why is everybody else's torch lit? I'm just at the beginning lighting one person's torch. Why are they all lit? I don't know. It probably shouldn't. They shouldn't be lit. But like the idea is you have the torch and you can let others, light theirs from yours. You don't have to be the one doing everything. You can share the light with others. So that's kind of what I meant for it to do, but like it did what it wanted to do. So it's great. AI is great.
Well, I am going to say, so I'm watching Joanne and Chloe go back and forth. I will say that for Chloe's 3 words, by the way, go swing by her YouTube channel because she made a funny YouTube short about her 3 words. And I thought it was super cute. It was super fun to watch. And she picked wonderful visuals for her words. So, all right, I'm going to throw my third of 3 words. So my first was package. My second was depth. My third is foundation. And so foundation being that if you don't have a solid foundation, everything you build after doesn't matter. What's kind of funny about the graphic that I picked was that where Kerry and I live, right around a corner that we tend to go by a lot, someone bought this super old house, like one of those National Register historic houses from like the 1600s or 1700s or something like that. And most times when you buy a house like that, you basically have to kind of build around them and keep the main structure. There's like all kinds of restrictions to it. And whatever this person did, it looks like they built a house that's on a really crappy foundation. It looks like there is a risk that this house is going to fall apart. And so I have an actual real world visual in front of me of if you don't make a good solid foundation, things won't go super great. And so that is not only my word of the day, but I have a visual drive-by at most everyday reminder of what will be at stake if I don't heed the foundation. Over to you, Kerry.
So it looks like it's sinking. It looks like it's sinking. I know exactly the one you mean. And I thought immediately of the foundation. So there's old houses around here that have what's called a fieldstone foundation. And it's like, you can't imagine how it stays up, because if you look at it, like if you actually dig away the dirt and look at it, which you shouldn't do, by the way, it's just like rocks and loose pebbles like in between the rocks, and it doesn't look like it should work, okay? But it works. I don't know how or why, but it works. And if you leave it alone, it will it will work kind of forever. But one of the things about developers is they don't leave things alone. So that's what I think maybe happened. I don't know, but it's like this. If they now put siding on it, which just really accentuates the fact that it's like not straight when it should be straight. Anyway, long story short, I share the visual. I love the premise, and there's actually a pretty beefy conversation going on in the comments of folks sharing about their 3 words. Do you want to talk about some of those and give feedback?
Why, yes, I do. So out of context and order, Jackie says that hers are idiosyncratic, irrepressible, and equanimity, which I think are swell. And idiosyncratic, I'm curious what that one is going to mean to you, though. Like, I think that describes who you might be, but is that a choice that you're going to make, or is that going to help you make a decision? Because that's kind of the question there, is how that one works out. Very curious. Chloe asked a very similar thing. What does that mean to you? Between Joanne and Chloe, let's see. Chloe said that play, reps, and connection are her 3 words. So like I said, there's a pretty fun YouTube. And Joanne wasn't entirely sure what the reps meant in this particular case. So I think she's going to explain that while you go to your last of your 3 words.
My last one. Okay. So only 3 for reasons, because 4 is too many. 1 is not enough. 2 is not enough. My third one is release, and it's still on fire. I don't know, because Google AI thought it needed to be on fire, but release is my permission slip to let go of structures or systems or projects that no longer serve me. Like, just because you have started a thing or created a thing doesn't mean you have to maintain it forever. That's true of relationships. It's true of careers. I've changed careers multiple times. It's true of projects for sure. So if you're not getting from it what you were, or the system itself, was built to address a problem you don't have anymore, there's no reason to maintain it. So this is like my permission slip that when something has done its job, I let it complete because it naturally wants to complete. And, so I can move on and save that energy, dedicate that energy or space to what's next. So it's, I don't know why there's so many chairs, but the idea between what I was trying to say and what this is, I was like, all right, what if, like the backpack show, you had everything you needed. You have whatever skills, your experience, your perspective, your grit, all the things you need in your backpack, and it's light and portable, and you can walk away from this overpacked like castle even that's just filled to the gills with stuff that maybe you needed at one point. Like, this might be good to have, but you don't need it now, and you don't need it, period. If all you want is success, there's many ways to have it, many ways to achieve it, and you can walk out of that palace with nothing but your backpack and be fine. I also did tell Google to give me a bigger butt. It was like, it's like, I'm going to make you a little twig person. Like, that doesn't feel real to me.
Chloe says, I love that so much, Kerry. My dad says, I cannot take credit for my 3 words as I asked the Gemini AI. I think we all use AI as a tool these days. I think you could totally take credit because you could have chosen to ignore them. Now, what I didn't see is whether or not you actually decloaked and showed your words, Steve Brogan. So maybe you need to type them so we can put them into the comment section as well. We want to hear what the words are. And in the process, I'm just double checking. So I had asked, what does idiosyncratic mean? And she said, just a reminder to herself to be herself. And I think that's great. I think it's a good reminder. So, hey, Leslie came. Leslie made it to the end of the backpack show. Good to see you, Leslie. Happy New Year. Leslie shared a really loud chicken habanero, I see what it was. All right, my dad's 3 words for 2026 are reconnect, empower, and release. And I will say, without giving full information about it, that he definitely is exhibiting those words already in 2026 and had a little outing yesterday. So very exciting for me. One thing I love about going back to the backpack show is that we have all these really fun assets that we haven't been able to touch in a long time. So, for instance, if you look behind Kerry's shoulder there, you might notice a little bit of neon, and it reminded me of this one.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Feline invasion. I repeat, we have a feline invasion. Chris, hold very still. Do not turn your head. For the love of Pete, don't turn your head. Oh, the humanity.
What's really fun about these is that Tim Kitzrow, who is a voice of very many things, NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, he's the guy who coined the sports phrase boom shakalaka. And he gave us this like crazy audio file full of cool audio reads. And then Dan Gorgone made really wonderful little visuals for them all. So it's super, super, super fun. Kerry, before we head to person of the day, anything else I forgot?
Not that you forgot, but I did want to say I use AI to interpret my dreams, which it has like the history of the dreams I've had in the past year and the themes that emerged from them. And it did help me in picking my 3 words because it keeps in mind the things that I've been grappling with, even subconsciously. So for what it's worth, I don't have a problem using AI to help you figure out your 3 words, just as long as it's in fact resonating with you. It doesn't matter where they come from. You could even be like, boom, I like one of Chris's words. I'm going to take that. It just means something a little different to me. Whatever works.
There were a lot of people yoinking a lot of other people's words on the webinar we did. So, yeah. So I'm going to push this button.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
Now, I should say that the person of the day is sponsored by Fauzia Burke, who is digital book publicist. She's brought us many guests on the Backpack Show because she has a connection to a whole bunch of authors. She helps market those authors. She is an AI educator, she says, and consultant. She has a Substack for practical, grounded ways to use AI at fauziaburke.substack.com. If you have more room, she's a digital book publicist with 25 years. If you have more room, so I'm reading like instructions to us. Digital book publicist with 25 years of experience, AI educator and consultant, helping authors, teams, and leaders use AI well. And just again, fauziaburke.substack.com.
You're a dork, first of all. Second of all, Fauzia, I have known since I interviewed her about her own book, which is about, it was a book for authors and how to publicize their own books. And she's dynamite. And so I'm thrilled to have her sponsoring the Backpack Show. I'm so happy that I interviewed people ever at any point in my career, because that is how I connected with Fauzia, and she's such a valuable, worthwhile person to know. So it has come full circle for me, like interviewing, meeting cool and interesting people who get me thinking, and now being, again, still involved with them years later on a project that I'm excited to be part of. So thanks and welcome back to Fauzia. And now, who is our person of the day? Because you always pick.
Our person of the day for January 2, 2026, I'm going to be a nepotism person and make it Steve Brogan, my dad, because he came, he participated, and it's part of his reconnecting. So I think it's a great option for person day. As you recall, the person of the day is entitled to one free apple. You just walk into any grocery store, steal the apple, and run out real fast and just eat it right away. You don't even have to do anything to it. And you should be all good to go. Troy has resurfaced. I haven't seen Troy since like we last did the Backpack Show. So good to see you, Troy. Welcome on board. ChatGPT drove me crazy today. I wanted a PDF, but ended up with a Word doc. I don't know much on that one, but I will say that another thing that I've missed really deeply with the Backpack Show